दक्षिणस्य समारंभा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So in Ramagita, we have now come to the stage where Bhagavan Ram is talking about Mahavakya Vichara to Lakshmana. Ultimately, what is Brahma Vidya? Brahma Vidya or Atma Vidya is nothing but seeing the oneness of the individual with Ishvara or Brahman. That is what is called as Brahma Vidya. And this Brahma Vidya is only by one sentence called as the Mahavakya Vichara. So Mahavakya is being discussed here now in the next 3-4 verses by Rama. What is Mahavakya? We can say Mahavakya is a great equation. Maha means great, great equation. What is this equation? Now, an equation is necessary, as I told you in the last session, when superficially the two sides, the right hand side and the left hand side, look different. But when you work out the problem, you find that both the right side and the left side have the same value. Superficially, they may look different. Now, when we talk about a Mahavakya, Mahavakya means which equates, which tells me the abheda between Jiva and Ishvara. These Mahavakyas are hundreds or thousands in Vedanta. But then the most important Mahavakya that is taken for teaching is from Chandogya Upanishad. And it is called as the Tattvamasi Mahavakya. Tat Tvam Asi. Tvam means you. Tat means that Brahman. Tat Brahman, Tat Brahma, Tvameva Asi. So there are three things here. Asi means equal, equal sign. Tvam means you. You means the individual. Tat means that Brahman or Ishvara. And when the Mahavakya talks, it says Tat Tvam Asi. Now there are many Mahavakyas. 4 sample Mahavakyas are given in our scriptures just to make the student, the Shishya, familiar with the Mahavakya. The teaching Mahavakya, which every Acharya uses to make the Shishya understand the oneness of the self, that is the individual self, with the total samashti, that is Ishvara or Brahman, is Tat Tvam Asi. And when the Shishya understands this very well, he responds with the response of Aham Brahma Asmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Now I know, hey Guru, Aham, I am none other than that Brahma. Aham Brahma Asmi. That comes in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Then there is one other Mahavakya in Mandukya Upanishad, which is called as Ayam Atma Brahma. This Atma is none other than Brahman. Then the fourth one, a sample Mahavakya, comes in Aitareya Upanishad, which is called as Prajnanam Brahma. This knowing consciousness is none other than Brahman. These are the four sample Mahavakyas that are taken up for teaching purpose. But Mahavakyas are there in hundreds and thousands in the Shruti, in all the Upanishads. Especially if you take the Kathopanishad, you'll find that the second chapter, first Valli, is full of Mahavakyas. Full of Mahavakyas. Every mantra there is a Mahavakya. So here now, Bhagwan Rama has very methodically started from what is Moksha Purushartha, who's an adhikari for moksha, and how to bring this adhikaritvam in the form of sadhana chatushtaya sampatti and karma yoga. After which now Bhagwan Rama says, hey Lakshmana, when you are an adhikari for this knowledge, when with karma yoga you have developed enough chitta shuddhi, and with upasana enough of chitta naischalyam, this is the time now for you to go into Mahavakya Vichara. That is the Atma Jnanam. So in the 24th verse, which we saw in the last session, Bhagwan said, Bhagwan Rama, who is here, the Acharya, what did he say? Shraddhanvitastattvamasi vakyatah guroho prasadad api shuddhamanasah विज्ञाय चैकात्म्यथात्मजीवयोः सुखी भवेन् मेरुरिवाप्रकम्पनः. So he said, hey Lakshmana, a shraddhanvitaha, a person who has got shraddha. See, a mumukshu should have shraddha in the Shastra and in the Guru Vachanam. Without Shraddha, no knowledge is possible. Even Laukika knowledge, Laukika Jnanam is not possible without Shraddha. That is why Bhagwan Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Shraddhavan labhate Jnanam. Ashraddhadhanaha, Samshayatmaha, the one who always has Samshaya, doesn't trust anybody. No Shraddha, such a person cannot be taught Upanishads. Such a person is not an adhikari for any kind of a knowledge. Forget about Atmajnanam. Atmajnanam requires more Shraddha, because at least the other Laukika knowledges, you can confirm them, prove or disprove. But Atmajnanam is one where there is no question of proving is possible. The very proof is myself. When I understand Aham Brahmasmi, when I abide in my Atma Swarupam, that is the proof. And that is the proof which comes at the end of Mahavakya Vichara and Atmajnanam. Till then, I have to go purely on Shraddha. Shraddha in the Shastra, Shraddha in the Guru Parampara, Shraddha in the Guru who is teaching me. If I am all the time doubting, Samshayatma vinashyati, Bhagwan Krishna says, Samshayatma, who knows whether what Shastra is telling is correct or not? Who has seen that? Has anybody really become Mukta Purusha? What is this moksha? How do I know that Shastra is telling me the correct thing? I go to Shastra, study Vedanta for years together, and ultimately I don't find anything in that Have I not wasted my time? How do I know that this guru is capable of teaching me? Now, when I have these kind of doubts, then ashraddhadhanaha, that means a person who's not endowed with shraddha or trust in the guru and shastra, he cannot get this knowledge. So the first thing, the first value, the first guna that every mumukshu should have is shastra shraddha and guru shraddha. And the shraddha that I am guided properly in the right manner and I will abide in my jnanaswar. I'll abide in my real swarupam, atma swarupam. So he says, shraddhanvitaha. In 24th verse, we saw it last time, but every time I take up the previous verse, which I have already discussed, just to get the connection between what we are going to see now and what we have already seen. Because I know that most of us, after having heard the last week's session, we don't do any homework. We don't have time to study that again. And we come with a fresh page, with a fresh mind to the next session. And we have forgotten what was dealt with in the previous session. It's just for the connection, because we have no problem with time. It's not as if we have to finish Ramad Gita in 12 sessions or 15 sessions. No. Time is not the factor here. We have all the time in the world. And therefore, I always take up the previous verse to bring all of you, the listeners, myself also. I am also learning. When I am teaching, I am also learning. And when I go back one verse, I am better equipped to connect it with the verse which we are going to, the new verse which we are going to take up today. So, Shraddhanvitaha is the one who will understand Tattvamasi iti Vakyataha. This Tattvamasi iti Vakyataha means from Tattvamasi iti Vakya, Guroho Prasadat, by Guru Prasada. Okay. And what do I get? I understand the Ekatmya Atha Jiva Atma Jiva Yoho. Okay. Ekatmyam Atma Jiva Yoho. Atma Paramatma Jiva Yoho. Jivatma Paramatma Yoho Abheda Bhavam is what I understand by this Vakya. This is called as Tattvamasi iti Vakya or Mahavakya. It can happen with only Guru Prasadat. It's only the Guru Prasada. Excuse me for my voice and for my cough in between. And this person is a Shuddha Manasaha. This person, this Mumukshu, has the Chitta Shuddhi that is necessary for this knowledge. He goes to the Guru Upasadanam in the right way, in the proper way, and understands the meaning of Mahavakya. Tattvamasi iti Vakyataha Guroho Prasadat Vijnaya Ekatmyam, oneness between Jiva and Ishvara. He says, Sukhi Bhavet Meruvat Aprakampana. Meruvat, like the Meru Parvata. See, these are all the Pauranic, we see in Puranas. These are all the Pauranic Parvatas. And the examples of Meru Parvata, Mandara Parvata, all these are given in the scriptures. Where is it? We don't know. We know the Himalayas, we know the Vindhyas. But then our scriptures talk about Meru Parvata, which is absolutely steady, which does not move at all. Aprakampana. Any Parvata is like that. Himalayas, Aprakampana, does not shake. So may you abide in your Atma Swarupa without any kind of a kampana. Kampana means what? Doubt. Unsure. I'm not sure. Am I really this Atma? Am I really Paramatma? Am I really Brahman? This kampanam is not there. Aprakampanam. Without any kind of a doubt, may you establish yourself in your Kutastha Atmaswarupa. Now, Bhagwan Rama is going to explain in the next 3 verses what is Mahavakya Vichara. Introduction to Mahavakya. What is Mahavakya? And in this, he explains how the Mahavakya should be understood. So we'll read this verse, the 25th verse, and then I'll give you an explanation as to how the Mahavakya is understood. Adau padarthavagatir hi karanam vakyartha vijnana vidau vidhanata tattvam padarthau paramatma jivakau asiti chaikatmyamathanayor bhavet. So here he says, Tattvamasi is a Vakya, correct? Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. You means the Jiva. That means Paramatma, Ishvara or Brahman. So you are that iti Vakya is there. In that Vakya, what is it that you have to understand first? In a sentence, we have to understand first the meaning of each word, isn't it? What is a sentence? A sentence has to have minimum 2 words. Minimum 2 words. If more than 2, it has to be connected syntactically. It has to be connected with a verb. Okay, there should be at least one noun. There should be at least one verb. Correct? Then there can be many words. There can be 10 words in a sentence. But then all those words have to be connected syntactically and meaningfully. So what is a sentence? A group of words connected with each other meaningfully to make a meaning understood when it is spoken. It is called as a sentence or a Vakya. So what here he says is, before knowing the Vakya Artha, we have to know the Pada Artha. Correct? If we already know the Pada Artha, the word of the meaning of the word, then there is no problem. In colloquial language, we say, Rama went to the forest with Sita and Lakshmana from Ayodhya. Okay? Now, in this, we know the meaning of Rama. We know the meaning of forest. We know the meaning of went, we know the meaning. We know the meaning. Syntactically connected with various kinds of prepositions. It's connected. From Ayodhya, we know the meaning of from. We know the meaning of Ayodhya. We know the meaning of with Rama, with Lakshmana and Sita. We know. Now, in our daily speaking, we speak sentences without any effort. Why? Because we don't know the meaning of the words which we are using. Supposing I meet a friend, I ask her, what did you cook today for lunch? Automatically it comes, right? Because I know the words, I know the meaning of the words, I know how to connect the words to make a meaningful sentence. Correct? So we don't think. In the regular parlance of our regular day-to-day transactions, as we are learning the bhasha from childhood, automatically we have learned from the age of 1 year or whatever it is by listening to the other people. And in school, the other languages that we learn, automatically our brain has picked up number of words. Hundreds of words our brain has picked up. And our brain knows the meaning of those words. The padartha is known, pada artha is known. And therefore, we very easily, without any confusion, without any difficulty, join the words together and make a sentence. That is called as the Vakya. And the Vakya Artha is known to me also, to the other person also. So to know the Vakya Artha, one has to know the Pada Artha first. Correct? Because Vakya is nothing but a group of Padas. So to know the meaning of the sentence Vakyartha, one has to know the meaning of the Padartha or the meaning of the Padas. Padartha. Therefore, in a sentence which is short, like Tat Tvam Asi. Here also we are finding in every verse there are so many sentences. Sometimes we find it difficult to understand the meaning of that sentence because we don't know the meaning of the word. And in Sanskrit language, the words can be strewn here and there. We have to make the proper anvaya. We have to arrange the words properly. Okay? Because in Sanskrit, the syntax is not like in English language. Okay? We can bring all the words in a proper way. They can be strewn here and there. Especially when we study the Bhashya. We see this. In Shankara Bhashya, there are words which are about 20 words forming one sentence and they're all strewn all around. And we should know which word is to be connected to which word and make a proper sentence, which is called as Anvaya. Same thing in Bhagavad Gita. Every shloka of Bhagavad Gita, sometimes, unless we do the proper Anvaya of the shloka. Anvaya means what? Arranging the words properly in an orderly manner. That is called as Anvaya. Then we know the meaning of the sentence properly. Now, what he says is, in the Vakya called Tat Tvam Asi, this is a Vakya. Superficially, we understand that you are that. But are we understanding the real meaning of that? To understand the real meaning of the Vakya, Vakyartha, is called as Lakshyartha. We use it in our daily life also. For example, we say, oh, he is a Brahaspati. That means he is a fool, he is stupid. But we know, oh, that clever fellow, that intelligent fellow. We know that when we talk about somebody, that intelligent fellow, we know that that intelligent fellow, we are making fun of him, that fellow is not intelligent. That is a Lakshyartha, is that he is a fool. Vakyartha is what? He is very intelligent. Lakshyartha is what? No, he is a fool. He is a Brahaspati. Okay? Like that, even in our daily talk, we talk about things which are meaning something superficially, but their meaning is something different when you really analyze. So, the first thing we have to know is, a Vakya Artha can be understood only when the Pada Artha is understood. Second, we have to understand this. In many sentences, the Vakya Artha may be very superficial. The Vakya Artha may not make any sense. But the deeper meaning of the Vakya Artha, which is called as the Lakshyartha, Vachyartha and Lakshyartha. Vachyartha means simply the meaning of the words in the sentence. Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. This is the Vachyartha. But the Lakshyartha of Tattvamasi is really what is to be understood as Atmajnanam. Atmajnanam is the Lakshyartha of Tattvamasi. To understand this Lakshyartha or the hidden meaning or the real meaning of the Vakya, we are doing it, our brain is doing it every day. Don't think we are not. When we are talking about something, somebody makes fun, somebody makes a joke. When you make a joke, Vakyartha is different, Vachartha is different, Lakshartha is different. At that time, what do? Our brain is capable of seeing beyond the Vachartha, understand the Lakshartha, the hidden meaning, and laugh at the joke. Correct? Our brain is capable of doing it. We have grown up like that. Therefore, we don't find anything strange in that. When we read a joke, we laugh. Though the Vachartha is different, the Lakshartha, we understand that no, it's not what it is really said, it is something different. The deeper meaning is something different. And then we laugh at it, we understand it. The Lakshartha, we understand it very, very clearly. And our brain is every day doing that. But when we come to Atmajnanam, Tattvamasi Mahavakya is something which we are learning for the first time. We have not grown up with that Vakya. Therefore, we have to understand how to decipher the Lakshartha out of this Vakya. How to understand the hidden meaning of Tattvamasi, we have to learn from the Guru and Shastra. So if the Guru simply says Tattvamasi, what have I understood? Nothing. Prajnanam Brahma. I know what is Prajnanam. I know what is Brahma. Prajnana means knowledge or knowing. Brahma. But have I understood the Lakshartha? If I don't understand the Lakshartha, then I have missed it, like a joke. If I don't understand the Lakshartha of the joke, I have missed the joke. Therefore, what he says in the 25th verse is, Adau padartha avagatir hi karanam. Adau, initially, padartha avagati hi karanam. Padartha avagatir hi karanam. So, Adau, initially, before I try to understand the Vakyartha, the Pada Artha has to be understood. What is the meaning of Tvam? What is the meaning of Tata? What is the meaning of Asi? It is all the three words that are forming this sentence. I should understand the Pada Artha. In understanding the Pada Artha, I understand the Lakshyartha of the Vakya. So he says, Adau Padartha Avagatihi Karanam Vakyartha Vijnana Vidho Vidhanataha. If you understand the Vakyartha of Tattvamasi, Mahavakya, for that matter, any Vakya of our scriptures, the first thing is to understand the Pada Artha. What is the Pada? What is the meaning of Tvam? You. So is the you the Vachartha? Yes. Then what is the Lakshartha of you? That has to be taught by the Shruti. Shruti means Upanishads. That is what is taught by the Guru. Tat Brahman. What is that Brahman? What is the Lakshartha of Tat Padartha? That again has to be taught by the Guru, using the Shastra as the Pramana. Therefore, Bhagwan Ram says, Adau Padartha Avagatihi Karanam Vakyartha Vijnana Vidho Vidhanataha. In a proper way. That is why it is called as a teaching method. A sampradaya with guru, with a parampara, has learned how to explain the lakshartha of tat padartha, explain the lakshartha of tvam padartha, explain the lakshartha of asi padartha. Padartha means pada artha, and ultimately to understand what is Tattvamasi laksharthataya, not vachyarthataya. So I have to clearly understand the Shabda Artha or Pada Artha. So Adau, before the Mahavakya is understood, I have to clearly understand the meaning of each and every word of the Mahavakya. Vakyartha Vijnana Vido Vidhanatah. Vidhanatah. In a proper way, it has to be taught. Tattvam padarthau paramatma jivakau. Tat tvam pada arthau paramatma jivakau. Tat pada represent Paramatma, Tvam pada represent the Jiva. How that lakshartha of that, how to do it, it is taught later. Okay. Asiti cha ekatmyamatanayor bhavet. Asi represents oneness. Ekatmyam. So tata tvam asi means that Paramatma and you, this Jivatma, are not different from each other. You are one and the same. Ekatmyam. Oneness between Jiva and Ishvara. Therefore, I have to very clearly understand what is the Pada Artha and what is the Vakya Artha. Pada Artha has to be understood to know ultimately what is the lakshartha of that pada. What is the lakshartha of tat? What is the lakshartha of tvam? That is what is taught by the Guru. Now let's go to the 26th verse. So, why is it necessary to know that? Why is it necessary to know the lakshartha of these two words or three words in this sentence? There are only three words here. What is the necessity to know? It is so simple. No, you are that. That you are. Yes, superficially I have understood the Vachartha. You are that. I am that. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. You are that Brahman. Does it mean I have understood anything? Nothing. I have to understand the deeper meaning of that Vakya, which is called as the Lakshartham. So why should I understand the Lakshartham? He's saying in this 26th verse, he says, Pratyaksha parokshadi virodhamatmano vihaya sangrihya tayoschidatmatam samshodhitam lakshanaya cha lakshitam nyatva svamatmanamathadvayo bhavet. Pratyaksha parokshadi virodham atmano vihaya sangrahyatayoho chidatmatam. The first two lines will. Okay, now tat brahma tvam jivaha asi. In that, how can it be? If you see the vakyartha, if you see the vachya artha or vakya artha, it seems impossible, isn't it? How can I be that Brahman? Seems impossible. Why? Pratyaksha parokshadi virodham. Brahman is paroksha somewhere right now for me, in my understanding. Brahman is paroksha. Ishvara is distant to me. This is my present understanding. I am Pratyaksha. I am here. I see myself. I am here. Where is Brahman? Where is Ishvara? I don't see that Brahman. I don't see that Ishvara anywhere. So, I, the Jiva, is Pratyaksha, available for me here and now. Whereas that Brahman which you are talking about, hey Guru, I don't see that here. I don't know where it is. It is somewhere. I don't know wherever it is. So, there is so much virodha in that. I am a limited being, but Brahman, you only have taught me, is infinite. I am seeing myself. I am the nearest to me. I don't know what is Brahman. It's very far away from me. I am a limited body mind. You say Brahman is infinite. I am born. You say Brahman is unborn. Na jayate, na mriyate. I die. I means what? This body, I die. You say Brahman na mriyate. I am anityam. I am there today, not tomorrow. You say Brahman is nityam. Ishvara is nityaha. Brahman is nityam, you say. You say Brahman is immortal, but I see myself as mortal. So many differences are there. There is so much virodha. How can I accept? I am that Brahman. Brahma asti, I accept. You have taught me already. Brahma asti. Satyam jnanam anantam Brahma asti. Swarupa lakshanam of Brahman, Sat, Chit, Ananda Rupa, Atma, Brahman, Asti. I know that. And what is that Brahman? Na jayate, na mriyate, nirvikari. I am all the time changing. Brahman is never born. I am born. Brahman never dies. I die. Brahman is somewhere paroksha. I am here pratyaksha. Brahman is unlimited, whereas I am limited. So whatever I see in this sentence, when I compare the Tvam Padartha I and the Tat Padartha Brahman from whatever I have learned so far, I see only contradictions. I see only differences. I see only difference in me and that Brahma Padartha. And hey Guru, hey Shastra, you are saying Tat Brahma Tvam Eva Asi. Tvam Tat Brahma Asi. How can I, this limited, ever changing, samsari, ever full of dukkha, be that Ananda Swarupa Atma Brahman, Satya Chitta Ananda Atma? You have only taught me the Brahma Lakshanas. What is Brahman? Swarupa Lakshanam of Brahma, Tathastha Lakshanam of Brahman. Hey Guru, you have only taught me. And I am seeing myself that I am absolutely opposite. And when it comes to Mahavakya Vichara, you are saying that you and that Brahman are one and the same. How can it be? Virodham Atmanaha Virodha, there is so much Virodha. We are of opposite natures. I feel so small, Brahman is so big. How can I be that? That is why, in our bhajans and all that, we say, I am a papi. You are the papa uddharaka, jiva uddharaka. I am a small being, but you are that big, occupying the whole universe. I can't even protect myself, but you are the protector of the whole world. Isn't it? Huh? We all have that in all our bhakti, bhajans and all that. We do the stuti of the Lord. I am the protected, you are the protector. I am the small one, you are the big one. I need to be protected, you are the only one who can protect me. I am like a creamy, a small worm, and you are that everything. You have all the Aishwaryam. My Aishwaryam is what? Not even limited to my family, not even limited to my body. I have no control over my own nose and cough. Whenever it wants to block, it will block. Whenever it wants to start flowing, it will flow. In the middle of the class, it will start coughing. I have no control over it. But you have Aishwaryam, Samagra Aishwaryam, Samagra Viryam, Samagra Balam, Samagra Shakti hi Bhagavan you are. What am I? What is my Shakti? I can't climb one flight of stairs. That is my Shakti. If I sit down, I can't get up. That is my Shakti. Okay. So how can I, this limited jiva, the so-called me, which I'm thinking of, which I'm aware of as I, how can I, this jiva, be that Brahman? Is it possible? So what does the Guru say? What does the Shastra say? All these differences are superficial. Vihaya. Viruddham virodham atmanah vihaya. Whatever viruddha you are seeing is only referring to the upadhi. My body, mind, sense complex is limited, whereas for Bhagavan, it is unlimited upadhi. Therefore, vihaya, I have to give up the superficial things. Okay? And understand the oneness, which is the lakshyartha of both Tvam Padartha and Tat Padartha. Okay? Now, we always do that. I'll give you one or two examples. Supposing I give you an orange and tell you, please eat this orange, or a banana. You know very well that you have to peel the orange or peel the banana and eat what is inside. I don't have to tell you that. Correct? Automatically, you have learned that eat the banana means the lakshyartha of banana. Vachartha of banana is what? With the skin. Vachartha of an orange is with the skin. Correct? So when I say eat the banana, eat this one, what do? I peel it and I eat. So the superficial thing is removed by the mind. I remove it and I eat. When I say that I ate a mango, you understand as what? I have eaten the mango without the seed, correct? Let's eat. I ate a full mango when I tell you. But you understand the lakshartha, correct? According to the vachartha, I should have eaten the whole mango, means with the skin, with the seed, I should have eaten whole mango. But you understand. I understand, you understand. When I say I ate a mango, I understand that I did not eat the skin. Some people eat the skin of mango also, the naturopathy people. It seems they eat only the skin and throw away the others. That is different. There is a story also. When Lord Krishna went to Vidura's house, when Lord Krishna went as a person who had gone as a Duta, for Shanti Duta, he had gone to Kaurava's palace. He refused the Atityam of Duryodhana. He refused the Atityam of Duryodhana and went to Vidura's house. And there was nothing. Vidura was very poor. There was nothing. And Vidura's wife only had bananas. And it says Vidura's wife, Vidurani, she was so full of bhakti for Lord Krishna. She was peeling the bananas and giving him the peel and throwing the bananas away. But Bhagwan ate that peel also happily, because for him what mattered was the bhakti of Vidurani, not anything else. He ate, and suddenly when Vidura told his wife, "Arey, what are you doing? You are giving skin to Lord Krishna and you are throwing away this one." And then she understood. She brought a fresh banana, opened, and gave him the banana to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna said, "No, that's not tasty enough. What you gave me initially, no, the skin of the bananas, that was very tasty because your bhakti was there in that." Shabari, when she ate the fruits to see whether they were sweet and gave, Rama ate them. He did not see anything else. He only saw Shabari's bhakti. Okay, this is just off the line. So, what I'm saying is, even in our daily lives, when we talk, we take the Lakshartha only. As I said, a joke, it understanding the Lakshartha, not the Vachartha. Those who only understand the Vachartha and don't understand and laugh, we say they are tube lights because they have not really understood the Lakshartha. Correct? Similarly, when I say, I ate a mango, I also know, you also know that I only ate the mango pulp. That is the Lakshartha. When I say I ate mango, mango is the pada artha, okay, Vachartha. Lakshartha is what? Only the pulp I ate. So, what he's saying here is, what our scriptures say is that all the superficial differences between you and Brahman are only upadhi bhedas. As an individual, your upadhi is small and limited. As Brahman, Maya is the upadhi of Brahman. Your strength is limited. It's just a reflection of Bhagwan's strength. Whereas the entire strength of the universe is Bhagwan. So, these are all superficial. So, vihaya, all the superficial differences of bigness and smallness. A big mango and a small mango. We use those small mangoes to make that curry, mango curry. What is the difference? That big mango which we ate is also mango. This is also mango. Only difference is in the size, difference is in the color. That's all. So, all the superficial differences between the Jiva and Ishvara have to be vihaya. Having given up, then what do we take? Sangrahyatayoho chidatmatam. Seeing that the consciousness behind this limited body, mind, sense complex and the consciousness behind that unlimited Bhagavan is one and the same. Sangrahya. That is meant by the Lakshartha. In every sentence, we see the Lakshartha. We understand every sentence, even in our day to day, okay, is nothing but understanding the Lakshartha. Okay, like I am going to the school, I am going to the market. I don't have to tell I am going by walk or I am going by auto. That is a Lakshartha, correct? I am going. How I am going? Either way, whatever is convenient for me, I take that. Similarly, he says, Vihaya pratyaksha parokshadi virodham atmana. All the superficial dissimilarities have to be discarded. Why? Because the superficial features of both Jiva and Brahman are mithya or anatma. This body is anatma. This mind is anatma. Correct? This buddhi is anatma. We have already seen that. So if all the anatmas are taken away, what remains is only the consciousness Atma. Here in the Tvam Padartha. Same thing in Tat Padartha. The big upadhi, the Jagat upadhi of Ishvara, when it is removed, how? Removed can't remove. Understood. Vihaya means intellectually I have to discard. Now, vihaya, body, throwing out this body, anatma, can I throw out? No. Understanding that this body, mind, sense complex is a mere upadhi, it is anatma, therefore it is not I. Then what is I? The consciousness behind this body, mind, sense complex is I. This is the meaning of lakshyartha. Now, when I say I include the body, my features, my gunas, my mind, my sense organs, everything. Correct? But then in the lakshyartha, the I is without these things. Purely that content of this upadhi called as the Atman. So, vihaya virodhatmanaha, all the virodhas which are superficial, which are anatma, has to be given up. And then sangrahyatayoho chidatmatam, the chittatma, the consciousness behind this limited upadhi and that limitless upadhi. Both the limited upadhi and the limitless upadhi are anatma. So vihaya, throwing them out mentally by understanding, we are all the time doing that. We are all the time doing that. संशोधितां लक्षणया च लक्षितां लक्षणया samshodhitam. May you find out the meaning lakshartha. Samshodhitam lakshanaya cha lakshitam nyatva nyatva svamatmanam athadvayo bhavet. So when you see Tvam Padartha and Tat Padartha lakshanataya, not superficially, not vachyarthataya, but laksharthataya, when you see the jiva and Paramatma, then you will find that there is nothing different between me, the jiva and Paramatma. So how the lakshartha is to be understood, that is going to be talked about in the next one verse, where different types of lakshanas are being talked about. There is one thing called as jahati lakshana, ajahati lakshana, bhagatyaga lakshana. They are not difficult. We are using them in our day-to-day lives. And when I talk about them, giving you examples, you will understand it very clearly. We won't start that 27th verse now. He's talking about, Bhagwan Ram is talking about what is a jahati lakshana to interpret the lakshartha of a sentence. What is ajahati lakshana? What is bhagatyaga lakshana? Iti, that is going to be explained in the 27th verse. But we don't have enough time to go through that. So I'll stop here, and then in the next session, we will see how we come to the lakshartha. How we come to the lakshartha. From what? From the vakyartha or vachyartha. How we come to the lakshartha. And without understanding the lakshartha, there is no question of understanding the Mahavakya. The Mahavakya is to be understood only by its lakshyartha. Tat pada lakshyartha, tvam pada lakshyartha we should understand. If you see the tat pada vachyartha, tvam pada vachyartha, there can never be an equation. Like 7 plus 2 equals 10 minus 1. This side, that is 7. 2, this side it is 10, 1, this side it is plus, this side it is minus. If you look at the Vachyartha superficially, everything is different. But when you work out, you get 9 equals 9. That is Lakshartha. 9 is the Lakshartha. 7 plus 2 is the Vachyartha. Similarly, 10 minus 1 is the Vachyartha. 9 is the Lakshartha. Similarly, in Tat Pada also and Tvam Pada also, both sides of the equation, superficially they are dissimilar. But when you work out, when you see the Lakshana, Lakshartha, we realize that both of them are not different from each other. Om Nandantu Sadhaka Sarve Vinashyantu Vidushakaha Avastha Shambhavi Mestu Prasannostu Guru Sada Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkham Apnuyat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat.